Okay, we'll get started with our next school, University of Idaho, with head coach Robb Akey and players Aaron Grymes and Mike Scott. Coach, some opening comments.
You bet. It's tell you what, it's great to see y'all, believe it or not. And certainly excited as can be. We finally are going to get the opportunity to kick off the season. We're on the practice field next week, a week from today. And so I know I'm excited about that. And in visiting with these guys last night and hearing some of the comments that they've had today, I think they're pretty excited about it too. And the feedback I'm getting is that I think our team has had a strong summer. And so as a football coach, obviously you're glad to hear that, but certainly very anxious to see that when we report and we get to work next week. But I like the way these guys are carrying themselves and are doing some things, and finishing things has become a little bit of a motto ever since we started our off season, and we need to finish still the summer strong, and then get a good fall camp started and be able to finish that strong, so we'll be ready for that opening ball game on August 30th, which we're going to blink our eye and that thing is going to be here. And we've had some obstacles to deal with. Our summer didn't get off to a very good start as a family, and we had the loss of Kenny McRoyal, and that was something that had a great impact on our football team, very emotional. And, I think our guys have, been able to come together and help to grow over that. There's a lot that, we want to see get done in Kenny's memory. And then certainly, some very high goals that we've got to set for this football team that we want to be able to get accomplished. And so certainly looking forward to getting things started and having some positive things to talk about, and that's a good deal.
All right, we'll take questions.
Brian Murphy.
Aaron and Mike, can you talk a little bit about what the experience was like, learning about Ken's death and what it's done to the team, and sort of how maybe it's galvanized you guys going forward this season?
It was devastating to hear at first, of course. I mean, not something you want to know, especially when you're so far apart from the rest of your teammates, being that we were all at home at the time. But we came together strongly, even though we were far apart, just through phone calls and text messages and everything. And a lot of us got down there for the funeral and everything. But I think we've turned it around, using it more positive now, in a positive way, using it for motivation, 2012 for him, everything like that. So, I mean, it's still sad to think about, but we know he's still here in spirit and he's still with us. And even when we go out there to work out, we think he's still there with us and everything like that. So it's been in a positive way.
Yeah, I mean, he basically pretty much just summed it up. It's definitely not an easy situation to deal with, getting to know this guy and getting so close to him, and then all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, he's gone. Nobody wanted to get that call that early in the morning. I didn't believe it at first when Coach Akey called me, but basically all we can do is kind of use this situation to kind of bring us together as a team, as a close family. We would never hope like anything like this would ever, be the reason why we became closer. But for whatever reason, it happened, and it, ended up bringing us tight knit.
A couple questions, Coach Akey.
Yeah.
First of all, bounce back year. Can you talk about that? Obviously, last year you guys were very strong for a few years there. Last year was a disappointment. But you have returning players this year. The schedule looks favorable or, competitive for sure.
Can I see the schedule you got in front of you?
Favorable might be the wrong way to put it, but a competitive schedule that might stack up decent. I mean, can you just talk about, aiming to have a bounce back season?
Absolutely. And we're fired up to get this season going. And there's a lot of motivating factors on this season. Your new season brings that about anyways. We're competitors. That's why we do what we do, and that's why you play the game. And, you play to win, you play to have fun. Otherwise, you don't like to play those games. Well, we got some more winning that needs to take place again. The bowl game, the bowl game season, 2009, that was a season, we found a way to win games at the end of games that year. And it was, had some great things happen, and the bowl game ended up being the same way. But, there were a number of games that came down to one or two plays that we made the play late in the ball game to be able to make that happen. The following year, we're one snap away. The outcome of one play away from back-to-back bowls at the University of Idaho. We were one play short. But it was, it was a competitive season, and those things took place. Last year was the direct opposite of that bowl team. We found ways we didn't find a way to get the play made when we needed to win a game last year. So you heard me mention earlier, finish has become a strong motto for this football team throughout the course of the winter, the spring, the summer, and going into fall camp and the games that we're going to play. I mean, we start our winter workouts. We'd blow a horn and make a point. Y'all knew this was the fourth quarter. We're finishing the workout today or the practice today, whatever it is. And we need to finish better because that was that last year's season, it was a miserable, ugly finish and record. Now, that's all I'm going to talk about that. That was then. This is now. But that's how close it is. That's how fine a line winning and not winning is. And we saw that with the bowl season. We saw that last year. So, yeah, we're really excited about making the plays. Put yourself in a position to make those plays. And when you've got that opportunity to make that play, make it. You don't know till after the game. There's 5 plays that every ball game is going to come down to, generally speaking. Well, if you're in position and you've done things well and you've prepared yourself the right way, you've extended your opportunity to be the guy that makes that play, as opposed to look what happened to us type of deal. So, yeah, it's pretty strong in our minds. There's a lot of motivation with what's taking place with our conference in the world of college football right now. We're the unwanted red-headed stepchilds. No offense to any redheads, but nobody seems to want the Vandals right now. And so I promise you, that's got a chip on my shoulder, and I think it irritates these guys a little bit too. Last year it looks like the WAC's going to play football. We want to win the last WAC conference championship. That's something that's that means a lot to us. And you run the history books, you guys see that, and you run through there, and it's going to go from this is the 2012 year, right? 2012 down through history. Well, if we're the last champion, that puts our name right up there on top, and people will be the first one that people see. That's a goal. Do we ever? And that's what we want to get accomplished. And we've got a challenging schedule to be able to do that. We've got some long road trips, some strong road trips. But I think we get through that. As we get through those first 5 games of the year of preseason, I think we'll be pretty well. We'll be ready to take on conference opponents at that point in time, and we start conference play with New Mexico State at our place, and that one came down to we had an opportunity at the end of the game last year to make that one be different. So we certainly want to get that swung back around, but it all starts honestly with fall camp next week, and everybody reporting, and everybody being eligible, and everybody being ready to roll, and then having a great fall camp. And everybody getting all the reps we can. Come through fall camp healthy, so we're ready to play that first and most important game, which is Eastern Washington at our place on the night of August 30th.
You touched on the WAC's future, a possible independent program. If it came down to that, is it possible at the University of Idaho? If so, for how long?
Well, anything's possible. And I know this much. I know that our president and athletic director, I know they're working on a number of different avenues, trying to find what's going to be best for the University of Idaho. There's not a final answer yet. Certainly that could be one of the possibilities, yes. The word is that, this is all going to, we'll see a lot of probably reallocation again in 2 more years. And, so if that were to end up being the option, hopefully it wouldn't last much longer than that, because it's, you see Notre Dame struggled with being independent for a long time, right?
And then lastly, Coach, just your quarterback position, if you could touch on that, because last year was up and down. It's an important position for you guys.
Oh, it's a critical important position. And we've got 2 guys that are fighting it out. We knew that going into spring ball. And to be real honest with you, I had anticipated that I might see some separation by the time we got into late spring. And that didn't necessarily take place. They're still awful close in what needed to be done to earn that job, which I don't think is a bad thing, because I saw both of them doing some good things, and I also know, sitting in that room with them and seeing some of the things that they can do better, boy, we can see some great growth in both of them. So I'm very hopeful that what has taken place with the summer and as coaches, we don't get to be a part of that. That drives me crazy, but we don't get to be a part of that. So hopefully, the need for some of that extra leadership and getting things going has maybe helped one of those guys a little bit more and gotten him more along the lines of being able to be the starter. And if it hasn't, well, then those are some things that we're going to get structured during the course of fall camp so that we can get that determination made and move forward and go. But I will say this: they both are competing their tails off. They both want this job in the worst way. I think these guys will tell you the same thing. And I do feel like we're very capable. We will be capable and have a strong backup with whichever guy is going to end up winning this job. Yes, sir.
My name is Jerry Briggs. I write for a newspaper in San Antonio, the San Antonio Express. And,
Great.
I'm covering the UTSA Ball Club this year. I just wanted to ask a question since UTSA and Texas State getting into this league for the first and the last time, obviously.
One-hit wonders.
Yeah, one and done or whatever. But just for the fans that aren't familiar with this conference, what is it like to play on the road in the WAC? How tough is it?
Well, it's gotten to be a long road now. And that kind of has been the case. I really felt like the WAC has been a strong conference. Obviously it's seen a lot of change in the last 2 years, and there's a lot of faces that are no longer here. We've brought some new ones in, but travel's not anything that it's quite a trip from Moscow, Idaho to Ruston, Louisiana. We're kind of glad to be able to hit one of those Texas spots in between. That's a little bit shorter trip for us, which isn't all bad. When you come up to our place, you're going to be playing in a dome as well. So we've got our conference has 2 domes in that respect. I think there's a lot of passion towards football. I think I think it's a pretty competitive conference. I think you're going to look at as you look at the teams coming back. I think that you could stake a reason why why each of the teams in this conference could be the champion this year, and so it's momentum, it's health, and things like that are going to make that determination. I think it's a very, very competitive league, and you've got some unique places that you're going to go and play. If that helps.
Coach, could you, Tevin Stuge from Utah Statesman, could you take us through the strengths of the Idaho Vandal football team this year?
The strengths of the Idaho Vandal football team this year, I think we're anxious to find out. I think I would like to tell you going into this that I think the pride in the family is going to be one of the strengths that's going to help us, and I think that has. I think as I listen to these 2 guys, I think that has grown, and I know I saw a stronger one in what I saw in spring ball, and I think we've strengthened since then. And I do think that that matters a lot with your football team. Obviously going into it, we've got more experience and more returning experience on the defensive side of the ball that I expect to be a good thing for us. We had and I thought our defense really did some good things over the course of spring ball. I thought they really grew. We got a lot of things accomplished defensively. And, I think Kreiner, unfortunately, even maybe wrote a couple new pages to the playbook. I don't know if we need that, but it was good. And these guys handled it well, so I was happy about that. And, and I think that, if we stay healthy, we've got a chance to be pretty good there. Offensively, I think we've got some guys. The guy sitting to my left here is a playmaker that can make some things happen. And I think we've got, I think there's, Najee Levitt. There's a couple guys that have seen coming out of spring ball that I know can make plays out there at wide out. We've got Jason. If we've got Justin Beltung back healthy with, if that foot's working again, I mean, there's a difference maker right there. Not only as a wide out, but as a return man. So I think those are some pretty good weapons, and we've also added some new wideouts to that crew that can help us out there a little bit. I think we've got 2 running backs that I mentioned earlier that I think can do some good things. Obviously we need the quarterback situation to get determined, and those guys to write that depth chart, and we need to get the offensive line solidified. And I think we'd have seen a little bit more of that, like I mentioned we did with the defense, but I think we'd have seen a little more of that had those kids all been able to go through spring practice. We had 3 of them going into spring. We were keeping them out because of off-season surgeries and that. So, they've had strong summers. They're so that we need to get the Fat Five formulated here as we get into fall camp, and I think that's going to help us. And I think we've got 2 pretty strong weapons with, I think arguably the best punter in the country and one of the best place kickers in the country, and that's that can help you with obviously the points, but I can't say enough about what Bobby Cowan means to this football team. Hopefully we never get to see his tail play, but if he does, he gives us an opportunity. To have field position and some things like that, because he can bang that football, and that could really set our defense up with some long fields. And like I say, I'm looking forward to. I tell Bobby this all the time. I said, if you have to play, I hope on Sunday I've got Coach Kreiner, my defense coordinator. I hope I've got him coming in my office saying, "Hey, the defensive player of the game needs to be Cowan because he set us up so well." So, in a nutshell, I think that's what this football team is. That's where we're at right now, and a lot of it's going to get defined. I'm not going to lie to you. We're going to have to stay healthy as we go through the season, and we need to get some momentum going as we go through the season. But I don't know how many teams in the country you're going to find that aren't going to have to stay healthy too.
Coach, Dominique and Taylor, what do they do differently? What do they do the same? Would you have to tweak the offense one way or the other if one of those guys were to win the starting job? And then lastly, are they the only 2 competing, or does somebody else have a chance to come in the fall and win that job? And then how quick do you need to make that decision, or can you take it all the way up to the regular season?
Yes. Or you want me to expand on that a little bit more? They're both going to run the same offense, and I think that's a good thing. They each have are a little bit different in their strengths and qualities. They both have strong arms. They both can have what I call escapability. They can get out of trouble. Taylor might be a little more adept to making plays on the move. When he's throwing the football. But I think both have strong arms. Both can do some good things there. I think both of them have the ability to grow in regards to being masters of our offense and masters of the defense, and that we're playing against, and making those decisions work in that fashion. Personality-wise is where you're going to see some difference there with the guys. You could close your eyes and see Dominique out there on the field because you're going to hear him. You're going to hear him talking the whole time that he's playing. Taylor's going to be out there and he's going to throw the football and he's going to get guys going. They lead in a little bit different ways in that fashion, and I think both of it, it's got the opportunity to be successful. And I want that obviously decision to get made sooner than later, Brian. But we need to see some separation take place for that to be the case. I would like it to be sooner than later, though, because I do think that when a guy knows that he's the starter, I think he starts to carry himself a little bit different. Even though they're both competing and they're both trying to make it happen that way, I need that guy to be able to relax and play the game. And so, hopefully, by the time we get done, by the time we get done with that third scrimmage, we'd like to have the idea of what it's going to be, and if it could happen before that, that'd be great too.
And they're the only two.
To be fair and honest with you, those two guys need to be the ones to win the job. Now, anything can happen. Don't hear me wrong there. If they could come into camp and if they didn't perform well, and all of a sudden we got a young guy that's lighting the place up, well, shoot, you're in the job on the field, not by what class you're in or how long you've been here, what you came from, or anything like that, but realistically speaking, with opportunity, it's going to come down to those two. I think Logan Bushnell has done a great job, and I think he's a proven guy that can, be a backup for us there. We've had both the young quarterbacks that we signed have been here all summer long, and they're chomping at the bit. You'd obviously, as the head coach, you'd like to say we'll be able to redshirt those guys and build it for the future. But you never know what's going to happen, and no different. You're one hit away from changing that depth chart there too. So. You never say never, I guess, would be the best thing. But, yes, realistically speaking, those two are competing for the job.
Any other questions? All right, thanks.
You got it. Thank y'all. You guys talk too much.